Make sure that bad boy's up. Hold up. Let's see. What up, folks? Gonna start just a hot second. Doing as the cool kids do, where they be like, I'm about to share it real quick. Oh, 1 second. I'm about to share it. 1 second. Can you guys hear me? Is there any echo or anything? Let me know. What's up, Nick? Let's see here. Okay. Still gonna hang this. I'm 31 years old, and technology is still stupid to me sometimes. All right, give me 1 second. Just sharing this out. Discussing Vikings versus Saints. Vikings versus Saints versus the Aints. Screw the Saints, man. They still cry about that damn lawsuit. Let's postpone the season. We need to replay it out. Like, shut up, bro. Oh, they weak as hell, dog. Let me not even start with that. Hold on. Just sharing this real quick. Game reaction on YouTube Live. That's YouTube. That's realistic. Okay. Boom, boom. All right, so that's on Twitter. Now on Facebook. And we can get right into it. 1 second. Get on Facebook now. Oh, when the Aints come marching in. All right. All right. Boom. Post. Sorry for my stupidness and all that good stuff. All right, we here. So what's up, Nick? The Gov, someone cool. Yeah, it's great to see you guys too, man. Jake and the big homie Elov. Adam Thielen needs to be in the conversation of best wide receiver in the NFL. Maybe if the first 8 games of the season last year, it was clear. It was without a doubt. It was no debate. And then the second half of last season, he still finished with great stats, but the second half of last season wasn't as great as the beginning. But you know what? There are a lot of factors that played into that. But he's up there, man. If he can put together a whole, complete, consistent season like he did the first half of last year, then yeah, certainly we can do that. And since the big homie you brought up with Adam Thielen needing to be in the conversation, I mean, we can start with, no doubt, the Vikings have the best receiving tandem in the league. Like, this is not a discussion anymore. Did you see that catch that he had, that touchdown catch? First of all, that possession, thankfully they only played one possession, but I was just a little bit concerned that Diggs and Thielen were on the field. And I get it. Gary Kubiak, his new system, you want to, get the kinks in, work those out. I get that. But I was just a little bit concerned because, injuries, they just happen. But still, Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, I guess more so Adam Thielen because he made that catch. But Stephon Diggs, he's in that conversation too. Whereas it is incredible, bro. And I've said this so many times where Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, I haven't seen a receiving tandem like that since the old Arizona Cardinal days with prime Larry Fitzgerald and Anquan Bolden. You just throw the ball up to them, they will come down with it, to where Adam Thielen, he's going to come down with it, but you're still surprised, man, how did he do that? You're more so shocked as how he did it, not the fact that he actually did it. So it was really good to see. The offense, the first team offense, they looked really good. We can start with the offensive line. The Gov said that throw was good too. Yeah, it really, really was. And the offensive line, the interior offensive line, I thought they were really, really good. Bradbury, Pat Elflein left guard, Josh Klein even, and I get it. We're not going to really see what these teams are about, their whole defensive schematics and all that good stuff. But the interior offensive line, I thought they looked really, really good yesterday. It was the tackles that were really concerning. But Brian O'Neill, he was a scratch. He didn't play at all. Riley Reef, he played left tackle. And that's the concern where it's like, okay, he's a league average left tackle. I think he's okay. As long as he's better than Matt Khalil, I'm fine, which he is. But that's why I'm saying you have an opportunity, if you're Rick Spielman, to go after Trent Williams. I don't want to go on this tangent too far, but it's there. It's a real thing, folks. The Washington Redskins have zero leverage, bro. They have none. This dude said, or sources, whatever reports came out, I'm not coming to camp. All right. And this dumbass GM, Bruce Allen, over there saying, oh, we're going to find him and hopefully that brings him back. He said, you can find me all you want. I'm not playing for you guys ever again. They have zero leverage. So with the Redskins, you have a rookie quarterback in Dwayne Haskins. At least you can bring in Riley Reef in to be your replacement left tackle to where he can be serviceable for you guys. And we'll give you second round pick, maybe an additional mid-round pick, like a second and a fourth or a second and a fifth, something like that. And maybe you can make that happen for Trent Williams. But anyway, not to go too far off of that, when Brian O'Neill comes back, that right side is going to be shored up. The left tackle spot, that's the thing that concerns me because the Packers, their pass rush has improved. I know they lost Mike Daniels, but their pass rush has improved. Detroit Lions, they went out and they got Trey Flowers from the New England Patriots. Their pass rush has improved. The Chicago Bears, bro, we already know with Akeem Hicks and Khalil Mack, that pass rush, they're probably the best defense in the league. I'm just really concerned about that. But besides that, I mean, hey, the interior offensive line was really good. It's a lot better than Mike Remmers playing right guard and Tom Compton playing left guard. So we'll see how that plays out as the rest of the preseason goes on. I think we play Seattle next week, if I'm not mistaken. And so yeah, that's the offensive line. I thought they looked really good in that first possession. Thielen, he had the great catch. Chad Beebe, I want to see a little bit more of him. I'm a little bit surprised that I didn't see Irv Smith Jr.'s name called as often. It didn't get called as often that I would have liked it to. That was Tyler Conklin. He stole the show yesterday. I already said he's a heck of a pass receiving tight end, but I just think we have so many weapons. If we can find a way to fit him in, then great. I just don't know. There's only but so many ways, so many directions that the ball can go. And speaking of tight ends, that first possession for the offense, dude, Kyle Rudolph is great at running routes. He's great at catching the ball. But good Lord, when he runs, it is tough to watch this dude run. This dude's like, he's like slow and steady, wins the race. So I'm not in a rush, no hurry. I'm like, bro, knees to chest, just run, bro. Run like you care. It's like he's just hobbling around like that. That's the only thing I'm making fun of him. But anyway, I think this offense is going to be really good. A lot of different looks. Play action, that's the key for Kirk Cousins because Kirk Cousins is a guy where he thinks too much. You know he just thinks too damn much. And I think when he's in shotgun, where he has time to observe the line of scrimmage and see everything, that's where his brain can go a little bit too far, spin a little bit too much. But when you're doing play action, you're under center, you don't have time to think. You take your 3-step drops back, you fake to the running back, look over, your receiver, throw it there, boom. You don't have time to think. So the play action was there, 2 tight end sets, the 12 formation was there, a lot of different looks. I trust Kevin Stefanski calling the plays. I love what Gary Kubiak is showing so far. This is going to be a vanilla offense. We're not even going to see the full playbook open up just yet until the regular season starts. But there are a lot of good things to take away from this offense. Let's see what some of you guys got. The big homie says, we going to the Super Bowl, bro. You know what? I'm going to take a step back from that. I'm not going to say whether we are or we aren't. I'm saying we have the chance to compete for a championship, but every single time where I'm like, this is the year. Example, 2016. This was week 5. I went to US Bank Stadium. They played the New York Giants. They started off 5-0. And I called into Vikings vent line. That's when I used to call into that show all the time. I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. You can't tell me nothing. They finished 8-8. Every single time I say, this is it. This is our time. We about to smash some mofos. They just take farts all over the fans, man. So they can do it. Whether they do it or not, we'll have to see. Let's see. Who else we got? Jacob says, does David Morgan make the 53-man roster? That's a good question. I think because of his blocking ability, yes, but he's been hurt. He's been hampered with injuries. He hasn't even been out there and playing or practicing with the team last time I checked. So that could come back to hurt him. I don't know. Tyler Conklin, he had a good showing yesterday. We'll just have to see how that all plays out. If Tyler Conklin stays, I could see a scenario to where Laquan Treadwell also stays because of that blocking ability. So I was thinking David Morgan would stay. Laquan Treadwell, he would go because he's not a good receiver and they don't care. They'll eat the cap. They'll eat the dead cap, whatever. But at some point, you need to have some guys outside of the offensive line that can block. And I think you're going to need at least one guy, whether that's Treadwell or David Morgan. We'll have to see. So far, I mean, if they had to choose right now, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept Tyler Conklin. Let's see. Kirk showed his legs. Oh, yeah, that's right. That first down run. I don't know if it was a first down or it was close to it, but it was really nice to see him show off his legs on that run he had there. Someone cool says Wayne's look. Ooh, let me sip some tea to this. Someone cool says Wayne's look better than Rhodes. Your thoughts? I mean, yeah, I completely believe that. Look, by the way, that pass breakup, that touchdown pass breakup he had on Michael Thomas, one of the best receivers in the league. Trey Waynes, man, I say this enough, and I don't care. I'm a big Trey Waynes fan. I think he needs respect. He needs the respect, man. When his name was floated around in trade rumors, I was like, yo, like last year, Holton Hill, I thought was our best cover corner. Trey Waynes was probably the next guy after that. Xavier Rhodes was our worst cornerback last year, straight up. He really, really was. And that's the thing with Mike Zimmer. He's so loyal to his guys to a fault where Xavier Rhodes, I spent time with him. I made him this cornerback, so I'm going to stick. It's very old school like. So you're willing to put guys like Trey Waynes out there on the trading block, even though Xavier Rhodes should be the guy. Now, if Xavier Rhodes, if he falls off, his trade value goes to hell. It's completely gone. So I thought they missed the opportunity there. But even still, thank God they didn't trade Xavier Rhodes because Holton Hill and his I'm going to dial it back. I don't want to get too far because I'm going to say some words I shouldn't say. Holton Hill made a dumbass decision. He did something stupid twice. The first one, PEDs, whatever. The second one, substance abuse. If it's weed, cry me a river, bro. I don't want to hear nothing about, oh, he needs some help. It's smoking weed. Don't smoke weed. You don't need help to not smoke weed. But so thankfully, because of that, we still have Xavier Rhodes. But to get back to your question, someone cool. Yes, Trey Waynes, he did look better than Xavier Rhodes. Xavier Rhodes, hopefully he doesn't go back to the penalty drawing and all that fun stuff, but we'll have to see how the season plays out to that. Let's see. Kyle, I'm guessing this is Kyle Sloter's Stan account, someone behind a Kyle Sloter YouTube account. He said, love the 4 to 5 yard runs Madison was giving us. Those runs will be our bread and butter this season. I agree. I like them as well. And here's what I'm going to say to that. Did you see Mike Boone yesterday? And albeit it was against the third or fourth teams, but we've seen Mike Boone against the second teams in the preseason. We saw him a couple of times last year in the regular season. Alex Madison is nice. My only question with him is that strength of him being a bulldozer of a running back in the Mountain West Conference at Boise State. That's nice. Can he do that against the first team defense in the NFL? We'll have to see. But he was really good yesterday. He looked really nice. But my point is, what is it? And this is a question to you guys. You guys can answer this. What is it that Alex Madison did yesterday that Mike Boone can't do right now? That's my only thing. Because guys like Mike Boone, I'm assuming he's going to get cut. If he does get cut, hopefully he gets picked up by someone else. But it's like, this dude has a lot of talent, and I'm hoping that he doesn't get screwed out of an opportunity because I think he has a lot of talent to offer. But yes, Alex Madison, he looked really good yesterday. And you got to think, if Dalvin Cook, if he's suffering with injuries and all that stuff, he needs to take a couple of plays off. We need that 1-2 punch. The league is trending in that, not even trending. It's already there. You need a running back by committee. Otherwise, you're going to run dudes into the ground. Todd Gurley, we see that right now. Is he even going to start week 1 for the LA Rams? We have no idea. But this bell cow running back It's just not. It's not a good thing. That way you can keep your talented guys on the roster and healthy. Alex Madison, I think he's going to be good. I think he will be really nice. I just thought Mike Boone could have did the same thing. And I think they drafted Alex Madison. They took him in the 3rd round, if I'm not mistaken, out of Boise State. So my thing is, you probably could have kept Mike Boone as your second running back and used that 3rd round pick on something else. But Alex Madison, he's nice. Eric Simon says, do you think Drew Samia will earn a starting spot at guard? The way it's looking, absolutely not. I was completely bullish on this dude. I thought he was going to be a standout. And good Lord, he's behind. He's in the 3rd team, if I'm not mistaken, right now, because it's Josh Klein and there's somebody else. I'm drawing a blank here. But he's on the 3rd team last time I checked. I think on the unofficial depth chart. He has a big hill to climb. And again, I talked about how the interior offensive line I thought it was really good yesterday. And that includes Josh Klein. So if Josh Klein can keep it up, there's no point in moving him. So as of right now, it's week 1 of the preseason. I get it. But as of right now, I would say no. Let's see. Mannion Scott's starting it. And RWF starting it right now. Both talking about Mannion. Let's start with Scott. Scott says Mannion looked all right. Is it just me, or does he look really awkward? And then RFW 1984 says, Mannion did look good besides when he tried to force it to Irv Smith Jr. All right, let me bring up this bum-ass dude's stats real quick, man. Because I'm telling y'all, this disrespect on Kyle Sloter it's gone way too far. Let me bring up this dude's stats. Saints, Vikings, Bucks go. If I'm not mistaken, Sean Mannion went like 7 for 13, barely over 50% completion percentage. ESPN.com, NFL. Let's see. Where are we? And then Kyle Sloter, he went 6 for 7. Let's see. Where are you? Okay. Vikings, box score. All right, here we go. Box score. So Sean Mannion yesterday, he went 7 for 13 for 102 yards. Kyle Sloter went 6 for 7. So Sean Mannion completed 1 more pass than Kyle Sloter, but it took him 6 more attempts to do that. I don't get what the problem is. I don't care that he doesn't look good in practice. All right. If we're going to go under that same mantra, do you remember Case Keenum in 2017? All the reports out of training camp and practice during that time was Case Keenum looks like dog bleep. He looks awful. He looks terrible, which is why when Sam Bradford suffered that injury against the Saints in week 1, and it was like an injury that no one saw. I think it was a non-contact injury. I said, we are screwed going into Pittsburgh against the Steelers with Case Keenum. We are screwed because, he looked terrible in practice. Now, granted, against the Steelers, he didn't look great, but that was the first game that he had to start. But over time, throughout the rest of the season, he got better and better. In games, it is a fact. Kyle Sloter is a baller. Sean Mannion was okay. He had the 1 touchdown pass. It looked nice, but over the course, 7 for 13 is not going to get it done. Kyle Sloter makes plays. Just play this dude. Give him the opportunities against the second teams. I want to see him against the second team. That way you can see whether he's actually good or not if you're the Vikings front office, because up to this point, all they've been doing with Kyle Sloter has been 3rd-team defenses. We're going to put him up against that. Give this man the opportunity. I don't give a damn about Sean Mannion, dog. 7 for 13. Yeah, well, he has experience. And whatever. Sean Mannion. Kyle Sloter season, bro. Don't care. Bear said, what did you think about Browning? I'm gonna be honest, dude. 4th quarter, once it started waning down, I turned the game off. I just didn't care. The few snaps I saw, Jake Browning, he looked all right. Like, he was all right. He looked better than Sean Mannion the few times that I saw him, but I didn't see the rest of the game, so it is what it is. Let's see. What do we got here? Let's see. Let's scroll down. Goodness gracious. What do you think? Ooh, loaded guitars with a hot take right here. Mike Boone is like Philip Lindsay. Could be if you give him the opportunity, and that's the same thing I say about Kyle Sloter. Like Jarius Wright, the same thing a couple of years ago. Dudes that show you something you need to give them the opportunity. Now, granted, the difference here with Mike Boone compared to, let's say, Jarius Wright and Kyle Sloter is Mike Boone, we have, at least from what we see right now, an adequate replacement. We have someone that can step in and say, okay, this guy, Alex Madison, he looks pretty good. So it's no big deal in a sense for the grand scheme of the team that, wow, Mike Boone isn't getting the opportunity. I wish he would because I've seen the talent that he has, but I understand they have Alex Madison. Fine. With Jarius Wright and who's the other guy I was talking about? Kyle Sloter. Kyle Sloter, the guy they have ahead of Kyle Sloter is Sean Mannion. I'm not impressed. The guy they had ahead of Jarius Wright was Laquan Treadwell. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Mike Boone could be really talented, bro. I'm telling you right now. So, hot take, loaded guitars. All right. Mansoor Ahmad says, what do you think our record will be this year? 11-5. Well, best case scenario, 11-5. That's what I have right now. I guess maybe I could break down. Well, I broke down the schedule like in one of the podcasts. I don't remember if it was on Score North or if it was on my personal channel. I'm not sure, but I did break down the schedule. I think they have the opportunity to go 11-5. And I'll be at that Eagles game at US Bank Stadium in Minnesota. That's in October? All right. What do we got here? Isadora, yes. RFW, yes. I was thinking third team. When we were talking about Drew Samia, someone else asked me, is Drew Samia, will he be a starting guard? And I said no, because he's on the third team. And I drew a blank just out of nowhere because I knew Josh Klein was on the first team. I was like, who's on the second team? Who is on it? That's Danny Isadora. So, yeah, good alley-oop there. Let's see. All right, so no more questions. So then let's get back to what was we talking about? What other key points do we have there? Boom, boom. Oh, my man, Hercules Mataafa, bro. Hercules Mataafa. Listen, it's funny because, again, all the hype, all the stuff we've seen of him, he looks great. He played out of Washington State, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, great. That's fine. Now we get to see him in live action against opposition or opposing teams. And when I first saw him, when he got onto the field, not going to lie, I sat there and I said, he looks kind of small for a defensive tackle for this dude, he looks kind of small. I knew he was like undersized, but actually seeing him, I don't know about this guy, but okay, I'll trust what everybody's been saying. And then I saw him play. There were a couple of hiccups that he had, but that one sack he had, he's undersized, but he's strong. He looks like he's like country strong, where it's just in the genes, pushed the dude back and got the sack. That was incredible to see. And with this defensive line, Jalen Holmes, he had a really good game too. A ton of pressures, a ton of tackles. This defensive line is going to look really good. I'm just happy that I get to see Hercules Mataafa. Just stay healthy, bro. But he looked really, really good out there. And when you add Shamar Stephen, he's going to be the starting 3 tech, that's great. But Hercules Mataafa, he's going to get better and better. Let's see. Someone cool says, who do you think will be the 4th cornerback? I have no idea because I was looking forward to seeing Chris Boyd play yesterday, and he didn't play. What's the point of him not playing? Is he suffering some sort of injury, or was it a healthy scratch? I don't know. I don't know who it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be that dude from the AAF. Was it Craig James or whoever that was from the AAF league that they brought in? It was a league for like 30 minutes and then they shut it down. I guess they couldn't keep the revenue flowing. Or Dinwiddie. I don't know. I have no idea who the 4th cornerback is going to be. But Chris Boyd was the only dude that said, okay, we have something here. And I trust Mike Zimmer to make the right call for the 4th cornerback spot. Whether it's a Chris Boyd who may be the clear-cut 4th cornerback, or this is the best of the pile of crap that we have. No disrespect to the other guys, but come on. Like Benworthy or whoever they brought 15 in 6 seasons in the NFL. Come on, man. I have no idea. Who it's going to be. Let's see. Nick Huey says, oh boy. And listen, Nick brings up a very good question. He said, I know I'm gonna make this very short and sweet because this is a Vikings discussion. But he says, I know it's not about the Vikings, but what do you think about the AB situation? Listen, you guys, as much as I go off on people, as much as I rip dudes, coaching staff, executives, whatever, I am here in center. Y'all can rip me to shreds because I was out there and I said, man, they could make a trade work for Antonio Brown. They could make this really, really work. And cap wise, they certainly could. And man, I look like a dumbass right now. I really, really do. Good Lord. The last couple of people that I've said, now don't get me wrong, because I'm right about a bunch of dudes too. Like Daniel Carlson, when they drafted him, I said, you guys are morons. And I wrote an article for the Viking Age that said, Daniel Carlson is the kicker that we deserve. This was during the preseason. And I said, this is the kicker that we deserve because you're experimenting with the kicker position for no reason. And guess what? I was right. You cut him after week 2, after we should have won that game. Should have won that game against the Green Bay Packers. So I am right about a lot. But, man, there are some where I'm wrong as hell about. Richie Incognito. That was one where I said last year or a couple of years ago, I said they should bring him in to fill the guard spot. And now Antonio Brown. I don't know what the hell this dude's problem is. I don't know who the hell he thinks he is, bro. A helmet? A helmet? Oh, this helmet, I don't like it. I don't like the way it fits, or I can't see. It's impeding my vision, so I'm going to retire. You're leaving $50 million on the table? Man, get out of my face. I'm glad the Vikings did not listen to me. I deserve all the smoke from all of y'all. So, yeah, Antonio Brown, oh, Lord, good helmet. Get out of my face. You know, his mustache is blonde. Good God. Man, whatever. I'm not going to start with that. Let's see. What other stuff do we got? Don't Care Bear says, do you trust our kicker situation with no competition? I don't trust any kicker that wears a Vikings uniform unless it's Kai Forbath or before they started this charade, Ryan Longwell. Like Ryan Longwell, I remember when they got rid of him for Blair Walsh, and it's like, man, this dude, I don't know why you did that. And then we've been going through this kicker carousel ever since. I know 98, Gary Anderson, I wasn't there. I'm glad I didn't absorb that energy. So I didn't get to live through that pain. I did watch it on YouTube. I watched that 98 NFC Championship game on YouTube probably a couple of weeks ago. And I said, man, this sucks. Like, I get it. I get why it sucks. But I didn't experience that in real time. I don't trust any kicker that comes in. I don't. Every single kicker besides Kai Forbath and before that, Ryan Longwell has been a disaster. And it doesn't matter whether Mike Prefer is here or not. Doesn't matter. He was a scapegoat. Oh, Mike Prefer. And maybe we were right. Maybe we were right. And we're going to bring in Nate Kading. And so many dudes got on me for Nate Kading. Oh, my God. Because I said, listen, Nate Kading, he sucked with the Chargers. I witnessed him. He was terrible. He was a terrible kicker. And now he's going to coach. And so many people, well, he's just teaching technique. Okay, well, the kicking competition, or not competition, but Dan Bailey in training camp and during practices has not been great. Hasn't been great. So guess what? You might as well give him the blame too, Nate Kading. It doesn't matter who comes in and puts on a uniform for the Vikings. Can somebody just kick? That's all you got to do is kick. And you know what? Bring in a second kicker to do the kickoffs. Do the kickoffs so our actual field goal kicker can focus on field goals and extra points. It is ridiculously absurd how terrible these kickers are. Robbie Gould, I don't know if Robbie Gould, was he going through? Oh, no, I think he was still under contract and he didn't like it with the Niners. So I don't think he was available. But I don't know, man. I just don't trust any kicker. Let's see. Vikings need to find a way to keep Waynes. I agree, but I don't think they are. I think the way that Mike Zimmer and his lawyer, I think honest to God, what's going to happen with this team, and I'm not even being like hyperbolic with this. I think eventually this is really going to come back to haunt us because Anthony Barr, Everson Griffin, Xavier Rhodes, those guys, out of those three guys that they brought back, that they didn't move or let go, The only one of those guys that I'm confident in that's like, okay, this dude, I know he's going to play well, but it's more so the next man up. I feel like he could be as equally as good, if not better. The only one of those three guys I think could step in and still, okay, we're going to get a lot out of him is Everson Griffin. I know he's going to be good. He's way too talented to not be on an NFL roster. I know he's going to be great. Okay. With that said, cap wise, this is where Rick Spielman has to come in. This is where whoever, what's it, Rob Brzezinski, our cap wizard that we have here, this is where somebody has to step in and say, listen, Mike, listen. I know you like Everson Griffin. I know you like Anthony Barr. I know you like Xavier Rhodes. I know you like these guys. But financially, we need to make this work for the betterment of the team. Otherwise, what's going to happen is we're going to have these players. They're going to get up there in age. They're going to get older and older and older. And in the case of Anthony Barr, he's still young, but I'm not going to go down that road again. Cap-wise, right now, Anthony Barr is like under $5 million against the cap this year. Next year, he's 12.5 or maybe just over $12.5 million against the cap next year. Come on. Like, we got to think strategically with this. So getting back to your question, we need to keep Waynes. I don't think they will because I don't think they can afford to. I don't think that they will be able to afford to after next season. Let's see. Let's see. Let's get to. Oh, Manny said. Manny actually brought up a good point because I remember saying this last night while I was watching the game, and I was like, "Look at this dude! Look at this dude!" Right? But I completely forgot. Manny says Holton Hill looked very bad last game. Yes, he did. And he's serving an 8-game suspension. Get him out. He looked terrible yesterday. And it's funny because I remember watching him last night, but there were so many good things to talk about. There were so many good things. The offense, that's what I was so caught up on. And Hercules Mataafa, Jalen Holmes. I said, man, this looks really good. And then just out the corner of my eye, I'm like, yeah, Holton Hill, 24. Dreadlocks. Oh yeah, he looks terrible. You're right. I have nothing to say about him. I can't. Oh, he needs to work on this. He shouldn't be on the team. You are putting your career in jeopardy just as quick as it started, and you look bad. Man, go somewhere. Michael Miller, offensive line in general. What do you feel? I feel a lot better. I feel a hell of a lot better because Brian O'Neill. We're assuming he's just going to come back. He'll be healthy. I don't know why he was scratched from yesterday's game, but he's going to come back. Honest to God, if the interior offensive line looks like it does for the rest of the season like it did yesterday, and you add in Brian O'Neill, who I thought was our best offensive lineman last year, then you're talking about 4 starting offensive linemen that we're set. We're good. It's fantastic. Riley Reef is the only one that he can be good, but there are some plays where there were so many plays, but to Kirk Cousins' credit, he got rid of the ball quickly during those times. So there were a lot of times where Kirk Cousins, and that's something he is who he is. He holds on to the ball for too long. That's just what he does at times. But there were a lot of times where during that first possession where Riley Reef let up a lot of pressure on that left side, but Kirk Cousins got rid of the ball quick enough to where it didn't even matter. So I think in general for the offensive, and I said this even during the, I guess, well, we're not in the offseason. The season's technically started. But even before then, when they made the additions, Garrett Bradbury and brought in Josh Klein, they drafted Drew Samir. I said, no matter what happens, I think our offensive line is going to be better. But now after seeing it, I think I feel pretty good about our offensive line, for real. I saw the QC says, I saw someone say Abdullah looked underwhelming besides one long run. True? No, I don't agree with that at all. I think Amir Abdullah he looked like he had something to prove yesterday. The problem now, if we are going to criticize something, if he's not going to make the team, it's because he let up a fumble. He let up an inexplicable fumble. It's almost like he took the handoff and just let it drop down on the ground. That type of recklessness you can't afford. It was that sort of carelessness where it just kind of negated all the good stuff that he did. Because besides that, I thought he looked explosive out there. He looked like that he was trying to prove that he belonged on an NFL roster. So kudos to him. He looked really good, but that one fumble, it really it kind of overshadowed everything else. So I don't agree that just besides that one long run, that everything else was a disaster. I thought he looked good except for that one fumble. Let's see. When is Mike Hughes going to be healthy enough to play again? I have no idea. No idea. None whatsoever, dude. You got us whenever he comes back, okay, but this is one of those things where I'm just going into the season just assuming I know this is far-fetched, but this is one of those where you don't expect anything. So when something does happen, it's a surprise and you're pleasantly surprised. I'm just expecting Mike Hughes not to play at all. I know he's going to play, but I'm just not going to put this timetable and just stress out about it because we have no idea when he's coming back. And when he does come back, it's one thing to be in shape, like to be in physical shape. It's another thing to be in game shape. And he's going to miss so much time. He's not going to play in the preseason. Who knows how many regular season games he's going to miss? And to expect him to just come back in and to just start and to be ready to cover the number 3 receiver or whatever, it's going to be a lot to ask of him. So I have no idea when he's going to come back. But even when he does, you're going to have to give him a little bit of a lengthy leash for him before he gets caught up to speed. Scott says you should go live more, Realistic Randy. Yeah, I should. This is a lot of fun, man. And so I'm in PA. I'm in Pennsylvania this week and again next week. So the last month I've been away. Had a family situation come up after last week because I was supposed to be back in California with my studio and everything. So I said, screw it. So that's why on Score North, you guys have been seeing me in the car. I've been doing the selfie videos, just giving 5-minute takes or whatever. And then today I'm doing YouTube Live. And then next week I'll be doing YouTube Live as well. But after next week, that's when the podcast will be back. So no, I'm not, I haven't abandoned ship. I'm not like saying screw the podcast or anything like that. I'm just back on the East Coast. But today and next week, I'll be doing YouTube Live on Saturdays. And then after that, every couple of weeks, I'll do YouTube Live. This is a lot of fun. Let's see. Let's do a couple of more. Let's see. What's your big... Okay, Michael Miller says, what's your biggest concern besides special teams this year? Our cornerbacks. And I don't think it's any question. It's really the cornerbacks for me because the defensive line, I think they're going to be outstanding. And I think with the new additions that you have here and the rotation that you're going to have on the defensive line, I think at first with Sheldon Richardson, when we lost him, I said, man, this is going to be a loss. And I get that he's more effective in rushing the passer versus stopping the run. I get that, but I said, man, this is a little bit of loss. But quite honestly, with the guys that we have on the roster, I think Sheldon Richardson's loss isn't really that big of a loss anymore. The linebackers, Eric Wilson, good Lord. I know they're talking about Eric Wilson. He may step up, take Ben Gideon's spot, but good Lord, Ben Gideon doesn't even play that much because we're always usually in nickel packages. So with our linebackers, Eric Kendricks, he should hopefully bounce back next year in 2019. Anthony Barr, he is who he is. If he plays well, I will say Anthony Barr is playing well. But I'm sorry, you can't convince me. I watched every single game of last season, and I say, are the people right? Like, do I just have this personal thing? Let me watch these games over. No, Anthony Barr is not good. No, he's an okay linebacker. He's an okay linebacker and nothing more. So he is who he is to me. I'm not expecting anything from him. But to get back to your question, what is it that I'm going to be the most concerned about? It's the cornerback group. Xavier Rhodes, I am fearful that he is on the decline. I am fearful that what we saw last year being our worst cornerback last year, that is going to continue. That's what I fear. Trey Waynes, I know what I'm going to get from him. He's solid. Mackenzie Alexander, I know what I'm going to get from him too. He's going to provide a lot of Swiss Army knife, Antoine Winfield-esque type of play on the football field. In pass coverage, he can be okay. But then when you're talking about our number one cornerback, Xavier Rhodes, if he's like he was last year, he's going to get lit up again. And then our fourth cornerback spot, that's what I'm concerned about most. And that's going to put the most pressure on our defensive line because let's say a couple of plays here, a couple of plays there, the pass rush falls apart. It's not as good as it was the play before that. That puts pressure on the cornerbacks to stay in coverage longer. I'm very concerned about our cornerback group, and especially with Holton Hill. Good God, this always brings me back to him. If Holton Hill wasn't so stupid, then this wouldn't even be a conversation. This wouldn't even be a topic because I would say my biggest concern, if Holton Hill was still on this roster and he wasn't suspended at all, my biggest concern would only be the special teams. It would only be the special teams. But Holton Hill being gone, Mike Hughes, we don't know when he's going to come back. When he comes back, we don't know whether he's going to be in game shape. I have no idea what's going to. Our fourth cornerback spot is up for grabs. I'm very, very concerned about that. Let's see. Let's do a couple more. Cristable says, do you think that the run game will be good enough to keep the passing game open? Yes, I do. Gary Kubiak is going to focus on the run game this year. We know how much Mike Zimmer wants to run the ball. All the subtle shots he gave at John DeFilippo, like, hey, can you run the ball more? Can you run the ball more? We know Gary Kubiak is going to do exactly that. The run game is going to be the featured part of this offense, and that will definitely open things up for the passing attack. Because, again, with Kirk Cousins, because he thinks so much, you need to take the pressure off of him. And when he doesn't have to think as much, the game it gets easier for him. So the running game should be the focal point, and it will, and that will make things a lot easier for Kirk Cousins and the weapons, the pass-catching weapons that we have on offense. Should we? Don't Care Bear says, maybe I'll end it with this. I don't know. Ask a couple of questions. Maybe I'll stay on for 5 minutes. I don't know. Don't Care Bear says, should we draft a quarterback number 1 next year? It depends on how the season. No, we shouldn't. Depending on how the season goes, I get how that could be a question. But even let's say if the season falls apart, I'm still going to say no because if you're going to draft a quarterback, I say back up a little bit. Say the season falls apart this year, right? I say they'll go 11-5. Say they go 5-11. Oh, this is terrible. Oh my God, whatever. Okay, 2020, let it ride out. Everyone gets fired. Mike Zimmer, he'll be fired. I'm sorry, like Mike Zimmer will be fired if this season doesn't go well, or maybe they'll attach it to the Kirk Cousins contract. But let's say this season falls apart. Let's say they go 5-11. Oh my God, you didn't meet expectations. 2020, tank it out. Tank it out. Just let it roll because in 2021, there's a dude by the name of Trevor Lawrence who is going to be a superstar. You go after him because I'm not of the mindset. We've gone through Christian Ponder, Tavares Jackson, where you're reaching for quarterbacks because we need one. That's the one position where I don't agree on reaching for. If you're a championship caliber team and you have a quarterback already and you're saying we need an offensive lineman, but in the first round at pick 17, he's more of pick 25, so you shouldn't reach for him. You should go for him at 17 because that's the missing piece right there. Quarterback, nah, man, you need to be for sure. You need to be certain that quarterback is for real. And to me, Trevor Lawrence is for real. If you're going to go and draft a quarterback, wait a year after next and go after Trevor Lawrence. That's just me. But honestly, you're going to have to draft with the number 1 pick in the draft to even have a shot at him because everybody's going to be on the Trevor Lawrence train. Tyler Schmidt says, what about Tua from Alabama? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's something about Alabama quarterbacks, and it doesn't look. How do I say this? Tua's nice in the college game. He seems to me to be one of those guys like an AJ McCarron that does nice in college, but at the next level, his game doesn't really show or flash NFL to me, or at least starting caliber quarterback in the NFL to me. I could be wrong. I don't see it. I just don't see it with him. The QC says, Will Zimmer continue on the path of glorified defensive coordinator this year? Yeah, and I don't think that's a knock on him this year because you have Gary Kubiak there. Like now it's out there in the open that clearly Mike Zimmer is just focused on like we already knew that was the case beforehand. I've said it. People have came after me for saying it. All I do is speak the truth or what I see, and I back it up with facts behind it. And if whether you agree or disagree, it's whatever. But I think now it's out in the open that clearly the offense, this is Gary Kubiak's team, and defense, this is Mike Zimmer's team. This is a two-headed monster of a head coach. So he's a glorified defensive coordinator, but this year everybody just knows about it. It's more public, if that makes sense. Someone cool says, yeah, we'll do a couple more. Someone cool says, who do you think makes a good case at third wide receiver? I think Jordan Taylor. He didn't get into the game until it was like either the third or the fourth team defense that came in. So he didn't get in until super late, or I just didn't hear his name until that late third quarter, early fourth quarter when Jake Browning was in there. So I think he's out. I think Jordan Taylor, I think he's out. It's between Chad Beebe, obviously, and Irv Smith Jr. I think it's between those two guys. And so if you want to go a more traditional wide receiver set, then it will be Chad Beebe. But if you're talking about who's the better receiver, and quite honestly, it still might be Chad Beebe. I like Chad Beebe a lot. Maybe he just didn't get the amount of targets out there. And you know what? Let's see him when the first team offense plays more than one possession. So we're talking about the next game, maybe the next game against the Seattle Seahawks, or, excuse me, do they play Seattle? I think they play Seattle. Okay. Next week, game 2 next week, or game 3 in the preseason. That's where, okay, they're definitely going to play more than one possession because you want to see Chad Beebe and his rapport with Kirk Cousins. Let's see how he does with that before we judge. But right now, if I had to pick, it'd be Chad Beebe. Let's see. So I think, let me see. Fire Breather 719 says, what are your thoughts on Garrett Sweaty Butt Bradbury? He's a center, man. And people need to understand Kirk Cousins was joking. He was joking. He was not being critical of Bradbury's butt. He wasn't being critical. He was just giving a joke out there because every center out there, I'm sure their ass is sweaty as hell. What was that dude's name? Played for the Denver Broncos. Stink, they call him. Scheffler. Is it Scheffler? What's his name? Somebody say it. Somebody type it. I'm drawing a blank right here. Come on. You're on the clock. Oh, God. Anyway, Stink, they call him. I think he's on, I don't know if he's on ESPN still or FS1, but he's the guy. He played with the Denver Broncos. He admitted, he was like, dude, I can't say it on here. YouTube, they've got their YouTube police out here. Like, you can't say these words and all that stuff. But he's like, yeah, I relieved myself out there on the field, out there on purpose. So Bradbury, I'm going too far with this. Bradbury, he's not doing that. But, these offensive linemen, they're all fat, got fat thighs. They're walking around. And, he's, in the case of the center, he's snapping the ball, all that stuff. They're all sweaty. I think people that are coming out, and I saw a couple of, I don't know if it was Beat Report. I think it was like Amy Trask. Someone like a high-profile blue checkmark type of NFL reporter. Maybe there was a couple others that was, oh, Kirk Cousins, you can't be doing this and blah, blah, blah. Are you serious? Like, no, he's joking. It's a joke. I don't think nothing of it, man. Mark Schler, RWF again with the save. Yes, Mark Schler. You did it first with Danny Isidora and again with Mark Schler. The QC said it too. So I think that's it. Is there any other topics out there? Let's see. Let me see. Is there anything else that I'm missing? Talked about Mataafa. Talked about Jalen Holmes. He looked good as well. Offensive line. Can't say enough about it. It looked really good. I think that's it. Teddy Bridgewater, he looked I know this isn't with the Vikings, but Teddy Bridgewater, it was nice to see him play out there. He looked really good in the time that he got. This is probably going a bit too far. they talk about Teddy Bridgewater, how he might be the future of the Saints franchise when Drew Brees retires. But I got to say, guys, I think it's going to be Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is a hell of an athlete. I think if they use him correctly, that's going to be the guy. And then one last thing before I end this. And so this goes on to when my family and I, when we go out to Minnesota, when we check out the Eagles game. So here's my thing. Philadelphia Eagles. And I know this is trailing off a little bit. I've got a bet with my brother-in-law. He's a diehard Eagles fan. And the bet is this. I said that I'm of the mindset that I would have kept Nick Foles and I would have traded Carson Wentz if I'm the Philadelphia Eagles, because Carson Wentz has durability issues and this is a system league. The NFL is not like the NBA where you can have some dude, LeBron James just joins let's see, who's a bum ass team? The Memphis Grizzlies, or let's say he joins the Minnesota Timberwolves. No disrespect. All of a sudden, you're a championship contending team. The NFL is different with that. It is a system league. Doug Peterson and Nick Foles, they were the perfect match. And as an opposing fan, I fear the Philadelphia Eagles way more with Nick Foles opposed to Carson Wentz. With Carson Wentz, we have a chance. With Nick Foles, I'm saying we're going to have to work really, really hard. So the bet is Nick Foles, he's with the Jacksonville Jaguars. Carson Wentz, he's still with the Eagles. And Sudfeld, they're back up with the Eagles. He's hurt now, so that's putting more pressure on Carson Wentz to stay healthy. The bet is Jaguars, Eagles. Who will finish with more wins? I've got the Jaguars with Nick Foles. And you got to remember, this is a system league. He's got John DeFilippo with him. As much as we want to talk about him and his time with the Minnesota Vikings, he did coach up Nick Foles with the Philadelphia Eagles. So he's got that continuity there. I think they'll do really, really good in Jacksonville. I think they'll win more games in that AFC South division with versus Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia Eagles. Don't get it twisted. They're going to win the NFC East. But in terms of overall wins, I think the Jags got it. So the bet is, if the Jaguars win more games than the Eagles this year, that I'm going to do a buzz cut on my brother-in-law. So I'm going to take some clippers and do a reverse mohawk. So it's literally going to be a cut from the center, just straight down the middle to where he has all this hair right there, and he has to go to work with it for the whole week. So that's the bet. If the Eagles win more games than the Jaguars, then I got to roll up on the podcast and wear Carson Wentz jersey all week long during the podcast. So I'm very confident in it. So there it is. So anyway, getting back to the point, here we go. Just to remind you guys, if you join in late or you weren't paying attention, I'm still out east. So next week, you can check out my 5-minute hot take selfie videos on Score North. And then next Saturday, I'm going to do another one of these YouTube live discussions. This was a lot of fun. And then the week after next, the full podcast, regular podcast format will be back on. So I'm excited. There's a lot of good stuff to look forward to. If you're a Vikings fan, they showed a lot on that first drive. I know it's preseason, but starting with the offensive line, that's the thing right there. Make Kirk Cousins' job a lot easier. Play action, a lot of good 12 formation sets, a lot of different looks that they gave out there. It's a lot of good stuff, so we'll see. And, yeah, I think that's it. Pretty awkward with these send-offs. Okay, bye.